What do you think about the ragu? I want to see what you think about today's ragu. That's what I want you to do. I want you to tell me. It's good stuff, right? Let's make some Naples Ragu. Ragu alla Napolitana is the probably most famous ragu besides bolognese, which is ragu from Bologna. Okay, so what we're looking for here is slow braising of super gelatinous cuts, and it's nice to do sausages as well and sometimes meatballs. What we have here is we have beef shanks, which are perfect for Naples Ragu. Tons of gelatin, bone marrow, amazing. One of the best things that you can use for ragu. We have veal cheeks, okay, also very good for ragu. Hot and sweet sausages. We have a pork rib, whole pork rib here, boom. Other things that you could use that work very well, pork belly, pork shoulders, anything that is used a lot by the animal. Cheeks, shoulders, legs, shanks, lamb shanks go great in this as well. Sometimes I do beef, pork, and lamb. The idea is you want the more gelatinous cuts, the cuts that have more collagen, that turns to gelatin, that creates a more profound sauce, more flavor. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna make the passata, okay? And we're gonna mix it with the sofrito, okay? Together, that comes up to a boil, and then after we roast all of this and give it color, we braise the meats right in it. We're gonna walk through it right now. So the first step, make the passata, okay? Ragus are excellent when made with canned plum tomatoes in puree. It's a consistent product, something that you can find all year round. Ragus are mostly made in the winter, okay? So they were usually made from preserved tomatoes, from tomatoes that were taken at the end of the season, peeled, and canned or jarred. It's very Italian, so it's very normal to make it with this. These are very ripe tomatoes. They were picked at their absolute ripeness. When you're using fresh tomatoes, you can't always get super ripe tomatoes. You have to ripen them, you have to wait. Okay, this is a winter dish. Okay, so we're using preserved. In puree always. So we drop them into a food mill. This is an industrial food mill. I'm making a lot of ragu. A food mill on the smallest holes is the way to go. It stops all the seeds. Okay. So we start by just running them through the food mill. We keep going until there's nothing left in here but seeds and skin. All the pulp needs to go through. That's a little bit of work. You can see it's still coming through. You see all the pulp? I'll scrape all this off and you'll see how much pulp is left. Even in these tomatoes right now, which looks mostly like seeds, but it's actually a lot of pulp in there. You see? It's a lot of seeds, but there's also quite a bit of pulp. And now you'll see. That's all pulp that we would have thrown away had we stopped. Glass can. And here we have it, pure passata. Boom. No seeds, no skin, just pulp, puree, juice, and the tomato. Ragu, ragu, this is the fun part, the meat, okay? Cooking the meat, okay? We trap everything here with this method. And we get the color we need, okay? And we even get some broth out of the deal. I'm going to show you how. First thing we do is we get some water on the sheet pan. Just a little bit on there to start off with. Okay, and then we start arranging the meat. This one's going to be the beef cheeks. This one's going to be all these pork ribs. We're going to do the pork ribs, okay, but we're not going to do the sausages yet because the sausages cook fast. They don't need to be braised. They're ground meat. Okay, these things need to be tenderized. They need to cook for a long time. So now we're gonna roast this in a hot oven. I'm gonna go 475. You could even go up as high as 500 because you want color on this before you throw it into to the Naples Ragu. So the first thing we do is put a little bit of water, get it in the oven, and then add some more water. Make sure you have at least like a ½ inch of water so it traps all the fat. It traps everything that renders out. And it makes it easy to pour all that water right into the ragu. It's like a beautiful broth made right here in the pan. This is all high-end meat here. All this fat, this is grass-fed meat. This is beautiful Berkshire pork. You need it. You need fat in a tomato sauce. So now we're going to fire it. Until nice and brown, until it's really nice and golden brown. We want to get some nice color on there. That color is going to translate into the sauce. It's going to melt into the sauce, okay? This is the best way to cook sausages and meatballs also. The liquid ensures that they never dry out, but they still get beautiful color on the sausages. So it'll be the juiciest sausages you've ever had this way. At Frank Restaurant, our most famous dish, rigatoni ragu, this is how we make it. Just like this, and this is a huge part of it because we cook the meatballs and the sausages like this, and this liquid sucks up all that flavor, and it goes right into the ragu. Our sausages, we're cooking them the same way. Look, the same exact way. But we're gonna wait, because these we're going to add at the end. These don't have to be braised inside the sauce. It's only going to add flavor if you do that. But we're already getting all the flavor out of these sausages right into the liquid. And that liquid is going to go right inside the ragu as well. So I'm going to fire these like when there's maybe 2 hours left on the ragu. I'm going to fire these. So let's make some sofrito for Naples Ragu. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab some celery. Wash it. So while that's happening, we've already scrubbed these, basically cut it into small pieces. We're going to be pureeing this sofrito for the Naples Ragu and adding it into the ragu. And boom, zing. Carrots. So now why carrots, onions, and celery? Why is carrots, onions, and celery sofrito? Why is it used so often? Well, because carrots are very sweet. Have a natural sweetness to them. That becomes power there when it comes to a sofrito because you can add sugar to a tomato sauce without adding sugar. Okay, you can sweeten it up. And with a ragu, we're looking for it to cook forever and concentrate and melt the meat down into like, where it's almost falling apart. So it just kind of gets, all gelatinous meats we're going to use, right? Is celery. Now, what does celery give you? It gives you the bite. Really aromatic. Have you eaten a piece of celery lately? Have you tasted what that celery tastes like? It's very profound. It has really big flavor. Onions, sweet, acidic, sour. Again, carrots, onions, and celery bursting with flavor, Control. The more onions and the more carrots you put in your sofrito, the sweeter the sauce will be. The more celery you put in, the less sweet it'll be. So same thing, we're going to just cut this up randomly. The smaller you make it, the quicker it'll cook. The larger, the longer it'll take, but it's getting pureed anyway. It's not a big deal. Bada bing, bada boom, bada bing, bada boom. Sofrito, sofrito. Come la nonna, sofrito. So sofrito goes on high heat, the olive oil's inside, you put it on high heat, bring it up, get it steaming and going, mix it up and keep mixing it up. Then you can put it on a lower heat, just let it slowly sweat, sweating and sweating. You don't want any color, but you want to soften everything up. Soften and concentrate all these flavors. And here we are finished. It's been going nice and slow. Nice and soft. Everything's nice and soft, but no color. Okay, so we have our sofrito. You can see, very soft, very sweet. Onions, carrots, celery. You see all that olive oil in there. That's the vehicle. It's holding all that aromatic flavor. Amazing. Okay, I'm gonna get first into the blender a little bit of the passata to help it along, to help it to move, to help the blender to easily puree all this. It's going to need some tomato sauce. Okay, some of the passata. Then we're gonna put in this. Make sure we get some of the oil in here as well. Boom. You probably get a little more in there. More passata to keep it moving, keep it blending. Bam, boom, zing, here we go. This is what gives a Neapolitan ragu its orange tint. So now we throw this right into the passata. Boom. It's quite beautiful. You can already taste now the aromatics effect on the tomato. Try it before and after you throw this in and you see the difference. This is a great situation because you really can understand sofrito if you do it this way, because you can see the difference between tomato sauce with it and tomato sauce without. Carrots, onions, and celery are aromatic vegetables. That's what we call aromatic vegetables. Pop this back on the fire, bring it up to a boil, and then as soon as our meats are nice and brown, we're going to throw the meat in along with the juice from the meat. And then we're gonna braise it right in here, one pot deal. Everything gets done right in here. All the flavor stays right here. Let's count the meat. Perfect. Color and entrapment. So every piece, boom, right inside. Beautiful, right into the ragu. The cheeks, boom. Veal cheeks, amazing for this. Beef shanks, look at that color. Look beautiful. I already started braising. Right inside. Bam. Beautiful. We now have all this liquid, which we need this liquid in order to make this thin enough to reduce as long as it needs to reduce for this meat to start to fall apart. I want everything to be like kind of falling apart at different levels of toughness. In other words, I know those shanks are going to take the longest to cook, and everything else is going to be literally falling completely off the bone by the time those shanks are cooked. So that's what I'm going to do this time. I'm going to put everything at the same time, even though I know that those shanks take a lot longer to cook. But now we're going to get all this jus inside. So now look at all this coagulated protein here. This is all flavor. It's all from the meat. It's all blood and jus that came out of the meat as I was roasting them in the water. And look how amazingly the water traps everything. This is no longer water. This is a crazy broth. So now I'm going to lift it up and very carefully drop it in to the sauce. All of it. Bada boom. Same thing over here. Look at all this color we got over here. This is all going to come together beautifully. And you can see the consistency is very light on the sauce because it needs to be. It needs to reduce. I mean, it's going to be cooking for 5 hours at a low temperature, and you got to diffuse this also. That's why I'm using the flat top here, is because I can get the flat top really down to a low temperature and a very slow simmer here. Very slow simmer, which is what I need. So let's finish it up. Let's get some spices in there. I'm gonna get a little piece of cinnamon. I'm gonna get some whole fennel seeds in there. Boom, boom, boom. Fresh bay leaves again. Bang, right inside. And same thing, we're gonna melt it right in the sauce. Melt it right the fuck in. Boom, just like that. And the sausages. There it goes. Oops. Boom, now it's complete. All the flavors are in here. All the meats. We're rolling and simmering, and this ragu is looking fucking crazy, man. Look at this unbelievable look. this meat. Look. Oh, look at that. And that's it. It's ready, man. It's ready. You know, I could have, like I said, you can undercook the meats a bit. You can do a perfect braise in here too and serve it with the sauce as a perfect braise. Do whatever you want. You can make it as a sauce like this and just serve it with packery and have some of it falling apart and some of it isn't. You know, it's really up to you. You can take it to any level that you want to take it, and you can time the meats perfectly. But that's not what Ragu Sunday is for me. Ragu Sunday is this for me. It's like just the sauce is going and some of the stuff's falling apart and some of it's whole, you know? I haven't put any salt in here yet. Small handful. That's it. Doesn't need it. It's plenty. Maybe a little more. I'm gonna oversalt the pasta water as I usually do. First thing we do is we go through the packeries and make sure none of them are broken. And for the first time that a single packery is broken, it's a miracle. It's a miracle. We got our water fired, extra salt. Okay, a little bit extra salt because we put very little salt in the ragu. We put almost no salt in the ragu to keep it nice and pure and nice and sweet. The sweetness of that meat, we want to preserve it. Oversalted water. Man. Be very careful because you can break them up very easily. You just want to make sure that they don't stick to the bottom for the first few minutes. Nice and gentle. Gotta blow in the hole, guys, otherwise it's too hot. Al dente or I'll bust your nuts. Meld, meld, meld. Warm it up a little bit. Meld, 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 meld. I'm killing the heat now. No more heat. It's plenty hot in there. Grating it right into the pasta. Put a shit ton of Parmesan over there. At least 2 big handfuls. My big hands, so probably 4 of your hands. And one more time we go with Mantecato al Parmigiano, the king of cheese. And now it's ready.